Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. It is, my goodness, I didn't change the month. That probably confused a few people. Okay, welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. Today is Friday, October 23rd, and I get ready to run my final report of today, but it's time for the star of the show, the COVID-19 analysis in 6-minute report for the United States of America. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this report for the U.S. and see exactly what the numbers are telling us here. So as you can see, the U.S. is still averaging over 30,000 cases a day, but deaths are as low as 933. Now, if you tune in tomorrow, I'll be running my weekly projection, where I'll try to guesstimate the number of deaths for 2 or 3 future dates, and we'll see exactly how my numbers are looking. Now, this is the mortality rate, or the average mortality rate. I just divided the total number of deaths by the total number of cases, and it comes out to about 3.3, 3.4%. So this number here is 3.3, I say 3.4%. Now here's the thing. Look at all the days when the mortality rate is less than the average. Now, of course, this can occur for one or even two reasons. First of all, the deaths are declining. Okay? Second, the cases are increasing, or both, right? Because if the number of deaths per day stay the same and the cases go up, then the mortality rate goes down. What I want you to notice is look at all these days when the mortality rate is less than the average. Let's just say this right now. Let's call this MORT underscore. Okay? Now let's look at this. Now it's true that the cases are spiking. They have been declining since they have been increasing since March 1st. Let's be honest about this. Now, they've been increasing since about about March 1st when the first death was reported. No, these numbers have been increasing pretty much by about January, what was it, 28th or something like that, 31st, when the first case was reported. Now, some people are claiming that people are withholding numbers so that they're not withholding, they're only sending numbers in, say, once a week. And this is calling this huge spike. I personally don't agree with that, because as long as the dates of the dates of when the report was made is correct, whether the data report has the correct date for when the case was diagnosed and when the death occurred, it doesn't make any difference when that report is actually mailed in, because it'll eventually roll back over into the correct date. The simple fact is cases are spiking. We may never, my sincere prayer to God is that He will completely remove COVID-19 from America, as well as Israel. But He'll do it in His own time, not ours. So it could be a while before we really see deaths on a daily basis really fall back down to zero, basically. Okay. Now let's look at this. Now, my only concern, of course, is does this reflect all the cases back over in here? If it does, then this is incredibly good news, because deaths have been falling since April 16th. Okay. And we'll find out the proof was in the pudding, over the days leading up to the election, whether or not these numbers are the total numbers. I believe they probably are. Now, if we zoom in on the cases, this gray line here is the 7 to 21 day incubation period, according to Washington University's Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation. So in theory, Anything, any cases to the left of this mark has already been taken into account. The deaths have already occurred. This is the days to come. And you can see we got another spike here. And the question, will we see an increase in cases or in deaths when we get as we continue to move forward in time? Once again, we zoom in on deaths. You can see there is a bit of an increase in deaths. But if we're going to quote spikes, then you can say we're still not even close to the spike in April. Because if we're going to quote spikes on cases, then you have to do it on deaths. Well, in actual fact, this could be turning back up a little bit. And it could even come above here. But the overall trend will still be down. Now let's take a look at cases by week. This is the average number of cases per week. You can see all the weeks when the cases were above average. Now look at this. Look at the average number of deaths here. Well, we say it was 933 or something like that. Look at all the weeks when the average number of cases per week was below, or number of deaths per week was below the average. Now, if we take a look at the monthly cases for the U.S., what you can immediately see is, well, October's already past September. But there's a pretty good shot that we'll not pass August. Okay? Those are cases. And at this point, there's a pretty good chance that October will not catch September's deaths either. So you can see all these. Here was a spike back in April, right? Look at all these months when the total number of deaths was below this spike here. Okay? And this is just the report, which basically, the red line is the 14-day average for deaths. The blue line is a 30-day average for deaths. What's it tell us? Well, not really sure. But it's kind of interesting. And this is the case of, if we really smooth out the cases by date. We say we go to like a 90 or 120-day moving average. You can see we lose the first spike here. But we still see this one here. And it continues to climb. So I would say, that this may be a little more accurate and tell us what we're doing. But the fact is, cases are increasing regardless of when they're being reported. So that concludes the final report for today. Thanks so much for your time. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Cable Data Science channel and like and share this video with your friends. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll catch you on the next report.